guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know, my name is Jayla. I have a question that I've been asking myself a lot lately. Like, you guys know, what would Jesus do? Obviously, my name starts with J too. I think of that all the time. What would Jayla do? What would Jayla do in these situations? What would Jayla do when I have these thoughts popping up in my head that I want to avoid? What would Jayla do when I'm feeling really down on myself? What would Jayla do in these different situations? And I ask myself, what would my higher self, how would they handle this? How would they move past this? What would they be doing right now? Like, what would their day look like? You have to ask yourself, would your highest self, the higher self that you are always envisioning as like the very perfect, just living this dream, that version of yourself, how would they be accepting this? Would they be okay with where they are right now? Would they be accepting this kind of treatment? Would they be okay with being disrespected? Would they be okay with not receiving any kind of accountability? Would they be okay with that? And I ask myself all the time in different situations, I'm always like, would my highest self, the highest Jayla that I can think of, would she be okay with this? And if it's a no, then you know now. It's a simple question. It's a simple question. But when you ask yourself that and you really think about it and you think about the situation, it's so clear. It's so clear. A lot of the times we don't see situations through an outward perspective. And I feel like thinking about it in a way that you are your higher self. Almost thinking about it in a way that you are this alter ego. You are this different person. You're this different person, but you're the same person. You might have different mentalities. You might walk a little different. You might dress a little different. You might just be a little different. But you're the same person. You're your highest self. Would they be okay with that? Would they be okay with being disrespected in a relationship? Would they be okay with feeling like they're just nothing? Would they be okay with putting up with this over and over and over and over again? And the answer was always a resounding no. No, she wouldn't be okay with that. Of course she wouldn't stay. Of course she would leave. Of course she would choose herself first. Of course she would love herself above anything else. And it's difficult in the moment when you're thinking about it. You're like, well, I don't feel like I'm at my highest self yet. So I don't naturally have those feelings. I don't naturally have those desires. I don't naturally have that clarity to know whether this situation, whether this person is for me or whether it's not. And when you ask yourself, would my higher self be okay with this? Usually it's a very quick response. Usually it's a very quick answer that you can think of. It's either a yes or no. It's either you do or you don't. And it's really easy to think of, but for some reason when we're going through it, for some reason we just can't wrap our head around it. But when you really think about it, you know the answer. It's been there all along. It's been there in your heart all along. You just didn't really want to see it. You just didn't really want to acknowledge it. You just didn't really know what to do. You know what to do. You know that you don't want to be with that person. You know that you don't want to be in this environment anymore. You know you don't want to be living the same life forever. Okay? You shouldn't be with someone that makes you feel like nothing. That makes you feel unheard, unseen, unworthy. That's not what your highest self would want. You shouldn't be in an environment that makes you feel unsafe. That makes you feel like you can't express yourself fully. That's not what your highest self would want. You shouldn't be working a job that makes you feel like you are breaking your back for nothing. You shouldn't be in a job that makes you feel like you are being bullied, like you are getting picked on, like you don't belong. Your highest self wouldn't want that for you. You shouldn't be treating your body in this way. You should be making healthy choices. You should be trying to stay active. You should be trying to do what you can for yourself physically. Your highest self would want that. Your highest self is doing all these things. So why aren't you? Why aren't you matching that? if you know that this is what your highest self, everything that you imagine that you could be, if that's what they're doing, then why aren't we matching that up? It should be a mirror. It should be a reflection. You might not be at that highest level yet. It might not come naturally to you. You might have to work towards it, make it into a habit. But why aren't you trying? Why aren't you starting? There's no reason why you can't at least plant some seeds in and watch them grow. Watch it come to fruition. Because as soon as you start to lock in and really view everything about your life, every aspect, how you wake up in the morning, what you eat, who you talk to, who you're surrounded by, the relationships that you have, the way that you navigate life, the way that you think, the way that you talk to yourself. Once you think about all those things through the mind of the person that is everything that you can hope and dream to become. Everything you can hope and dream to become. It can be something so like out of reach. It could be something that you feel like you are never going to be able to attain. It doesn't matter. That person, that's what you should be striving for. That should be what you're emulating. That should be what, even if you have to act like it. If you have to be an actor and actress, go be that. Fake it until you make it. Because I promise you, faking until you make it, that works. It works. Just fake it. And then eventually, it won't feel like you're faking it anymore. It'll feel like this is you. This has always been you. You just never had the confidence. You just never had the time. You just never had the energy. You just never had the self-love to tap into that and really express it to its full extent. It's always been there. That full version of yourself, that high version of yourself, it's always been there. It's always been there. It's always been a reality. It's always been something that you could obtain. It's never been out of your reach. You just finally decided to see it. You just finally decided to take it seriously. You finally decided to align yourself with it and start to be that person. You can be that person at any point in time. There is no time limit. There is no, oh, I have to wait until this happens to do this. No, you can start right now. You might not be able to check off all the boxes, but you can start right now. Just by you thinking about it. Just by you changing your mindset. You don't have to go to a class. You don't have to change your physical appearance. You don't have to do all these things in the physical reality for you to start to become that person. Once you change your mindset and believe that you are that person, that's half the battle. That's majority of the battle. You've come so far just by doing that. Just by waking up every day and being in the mentality that I am my highest self right now. I am my highest self, and my highest self is always striving for more, is always evolving. They never stop. The sky's the limit. There is no limit. I can always keep growing. I can always keep changing. Because who's to tell me that I can't? Who's to tell me that I can't do that? You can always be your highest self. Because that's who you are. It's not something that you have to necessarily strive to become. Because that is you. It's you. When you see yourself, you still have the same kind of elements within yourself, even while you're your highest self. That person isn't changing. That person is just more in alignment with who they are supposed to be. They finally tapped into their potential. They finally tapped into loving themselves. They finally tapped into, what do I want out of life? Not what does my best friend want out of life. Not what does my boyfriend want out of life. Not what does my wife want out of life. Not what does my parents want out of life. My teacher, my peers. What do you want out of life? Who do you want to be? What do you want? Because if you don't know what you want, how can you expect to be your highest self? How can you expect anything to get better? How can you expect anything to change if you don't even know? You don't even know what you're trying to achieve. You don't even know what you're working towards. You're just blase. You have to know that it's right there in front of you. It's right there in front of you. You can be your highest self at any point in time. There is nothing holding you back but yourself. There is nothing holding you back but you. If you want it, if you dream it, if you believe it, you will be that. You'll become that. And it will feel so natural when it finally all just clicks together. It might feel a little strange in the beginning when you're trying these new things, when you're trying to heal yourself. But once you become that person, you won't even really recognize it. You won't even really see it because you just already naturally evolved into that person by making these little steps that eventually built up to this full picture. This full picture of who you are now. This full picture of who you were always supposed to be. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. The journey can be really hard, but just constantly ask yourself, what would I do in this situation? What would I say to this person? How would I handle this? What would I be telling myself? What does my life look like? How do I speak? How do I act? How do I dress? Every little thing you can constantly ask yourself, is this what my highest self would want? If it's not, let it go. It wasn't ever meant to be for you in the first place. Let it go. If it's a yes, go towards it, move towards it. Whatever feels right in your heart, you use your intuition. You know in your body and your spirit, you can feel it when something is good for you, when something is right for you. You just know. You need to trust that. Trust in yourself. Trust in yourself because there's no reason not to. You know what you want. You know what's right for you. You know what's wrong for you. Let all the noise go. Focus and lock in on yourself. Focus and lock in. It should be like a laser point in on what you want, how you want to live this life, how you want to navigate this life. That's all that matters. There is nothing else. Everything else is obsolete. Okay, everything else is just an add-on. This is your life. You need to start acting like it. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your night, day, whatever it is for you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.